Good morning. Welcome, members and visitors, and however you identify. Thank you for being here today. My name is Carol Dunlap, and my pronouns are she, her. And I'm pleased and privileged to be serving this community on the board of directors. This morning, I am wearing a solid blue dress with some kind of necklace, and including a lanyard that says Living the Pledge. I am a white woman in my 60s. I just turned 65 2 weeks ago. I don't feel old. I am medium height, on the short side of medium, and I have gray and brown and purple hair. Since 1833, we have gathered together to commit acts of justice, service, and hope in the spirit of love, connection, hope, and resistance. We are knitted into a community of faith as we actively work to create heaven on earth. We show up, we greet each other, we take part in service, both this service and in the greater world service, so that our minds and our hearts may be renewed. We take part so that our spirit and actions are strong and generous. If you're visiting for the first time today, we hope you feel our sincere welcome, our appreciation for your presence, and our invitation to join the resistance we call community. We encourage everyone to tune in on Sunday mornings. If you who are tuning in from afar, 5 to 10 minutes early to catch the announcements. This is a good way to stay informed about things that are happening in our church. If you or someone you know has physical limitations, we suggest you park in the front of the building, which our building accessibility team has determined to be the safest entry for those with mobility concerns. Again, welcome. I'm looking forward to hear what is happening up here this morning.
Good morning. I am the Reverend Sherman Z. Logan, Jr., and I have the privilege of serving this congregation as its senior minister. Welcome to First Unitarian Universalist. I am a tall, brown-skinned black man, white beard, bald head, wearing glasses. I have a gray pinstripe suit today with a white shirt and a grayish-colored bow tie, and I use he, his, him pronouns. This morning, we're pleased to welcome our community minister, the Reverend Julie Price, who will be leading us in worship. We have Jamie Kirkpatrick, our worship and music director. Providing the ministry of music, Elliot Norman. Our song leaders, Barry Ramsey and Hyatt Bain. And the tech boots, Eric Bauer and Eric Glassman. And we're also honored and thrilled to have with us this morning a very special friend to First UU, Senator Ghazala Highsmith. And joining her is her husband, Azar Rafiq. Senator, we're so glad to have you here with us this morning, and thank you for supporting First UU throughout the years. And you will have our support. Now, this is a part of the service where we welcome our visitors. We live stream our services, and if you would not like to be on the camera, there are off-camera seats beside the AV booth, the bookshelf in the hall, and the ushers will be happy to assist you. Now, if you are visiting with us and you are comfortable introducing yourself, please raise your hand, and Jamie will bring you the mic. Are there any visitors this morning? That's right, thank you.
Yes, I'm Marion Mills. This is Joseph DeCidi, goes by JD, and we're from Chesterfield.
Welcome.
Now nobody's going to say nothing.
Okay. So whether this is your first time or 1,000th time, know this, you are welcome here just as you are, and we are truly honored to share this space with you. Now I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and take a moment to greet your neighbors and warmly welcome any visitors.
was beautiful. Thank you. Good morning. My name is Reverend Julie Price. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a middle-aged white woman with shoulder-length brown hair, wearing a black dress and colorful stole this morning. I have the privilege of serving as one of your 3 community ministers, which basically just means that I'm a UU minister whose ministry is primarily in the community. And I serve as a hospice chaplain with Suncrest Hospice full-time. I'm also a spiritual director, and I teach the Enneagram. So that's a little bit about me. Thank you. It's such a privilege and pleasure to be with you this morning, helping to lead worship. And so let us begin. Our call to worship is A Holy Alchemy, written by Reverend Kim Mason. Once upon a time, chemists believed they could transform lead into gold or death into life. We laugh, but are we not also in the business of alchemy? Turning loneliness into connection, pain into comfort, anger into solidarity, faith into action. The subtle magic of church combines love with justice, creates hope out of fear, transforms individuals into community. Here we engage in a holy alchemy, finding beauty in the ordinary and life in the present. Come, let us be transformed together. Our chalice lighting is Deep Calls Unto Deep by Gordon B. McKeeman. Deep calls unto deep, joy calls unto joy, light unto light. Let the kindling of this flame rekindle in us the inner light of love, of peace, of hope. And as one flame lights another, nor grows the less, we pledge ourselves to be bearers of the light wherever we are.
And please rise in body and spirit, and let us sing our opening hymn, Gather the Spirit.
Separate
We now invite Grayson Arthur to please come forward.
I'm just going to lower this a lot. Good morning. My name is Grayson Arthurs. I use they, them, or he, him pronouns. I am a modest 5 feet tall. I've got short brown hair with bleach blonde tips and brown glasses, and I'm wearing a black t-shirt. It is a signature he, she, ze, and we t-shirt that reads, "Protect Trans Youth." And I have the privilege, oh, yeah. Thank you. And I have the privilege of working with he, she, ze, and we as the community engagement and events coordinator. For those that aren't familiar, he, she, ze, and we are a nonprofit. We work to uplift and support the families and loved ones of trans and non-binary folks. And we're able to do this through 4 main pillars. We've got education, support, advocacy, and community building. And I'm here today to talk about community building. One of the greatest parts of my job is working with our Family Connections program, which provides fun and inclusive opportunities for families with trans and non-binary kids to connect, let go, and just be themselves. This looks like roller skating, exploring museums, going mini golfing, or crafting downstairs in this church's basement. Creating spaces where trans kids can leave their worries at the door and just be themselves is so important. And you have all done a very wonderful job of that here, by the way. You've made me, a queer and trans person, feel very welcomed and loved in this space, so thank you. Thank you. I didn't grow up in a progressive church that proudly flew rainbow flags or with access to an organization like he, she, ze, and we. I didn't even meet a gay person until high school, but now I get to be the person that my younger self needed. So for our trans youth, we have Family Connections, and for our trans adults, we are launching a fun, sober, social group. So it's like Family Connections, but for trans adults, and that'll be coming in the next upcoming months, so definitely stay tuned. The best way to get involved with he, she, ze, and we, definitely follow us on social media, check out our website, he-she-ze-and-we.org. You can volunteer, you can donate, you can sign up for our newsletter. All of those things can be done on our website, and I just wanted to thank you again for allowing me into your space and for allowing he, she, ze, and we into your church and for allowing trans youth into your hearts. Thank you so much.
Please look to the monitors for ways to give. The ushers are passing the basket. The offering will be taken and most graciously received. Now you can play, Elliot. Now let us enter into a time of prayer. Spirit of life and love, God of our own understanding, we come to you this morning with grateful hearts. We acknowledge your presence in many ways, through prayer, through meditation, through quiet reflection, and in the stillness of a moment's silence. Each of us speaks the deepest prayer of our hearts differently, and we trust that what it means for those prayers to be answered will look and feel different for each of us. So in whatever way we connect with what is holy, this morning we come to say thank you. We know that all life is a gift. We give thanks for our lives. We give thanks for this place. We give thanks for this community. We thank you for truly knowing each of us and for meeting us at a place of our deepest needs. We lift the needs of our hearts to you, and we take a moment to breathe, remembering that every breath is a sign of your life-giving purpose woven into us and to all people. For that purpose and for the resources to fulfill it, we give thanks. In this moment of prayer, we remember the struggles we carry, the conflicts within us, the tensions with those we love, and the brokenness of the wider world. Give us strength. Give strength to those rebuilding their lives. Give courage to all who face uncertain days ahead. Shine your life into our darkness. Bring us hope. Bring us encouragement for the journey. Open our hearts to the past before us. Open our eyes to the light that guides us. Open our spirits to the peace you offer. And may the grace we know here, in this sacred place, in this beloved community, be multiplied until overflow into the world. Bless each of us here today. Refresh our spirits. Transform our hearts until we reflect your love and compassion through and through. May this be so. Amen. Ashe.
Is there anything better than a really good snack? A cluster of green grapes in a lunchbox. An afternoon latte sipped very slowly. A baggie of juicy sliced up oranges after a Little League game. Snacks are pretty great. We take a break from our work or our play. We stop for a moment. We taste. We smell. Maybe we share our snack with another and spend some time laughing and catching up with friends or coworkers or loved ones. For a few moments of our day, we are present and awake and savoring life. And then the snack is finished, and we're back into the activities of our day, but now we're just a little more refreshed, right? A little more energized. A little snack can make a big difference in a day, providing an opening to refuel and reset our day. And, well, 2 snacks? That might just transform a completely no good, awful, stressful day into something we can actually tolerate. I'm a big fan of snacks. Snacks of all kinds, including something I've come to think of as spiritual snacks. Small, brief spiritual practices that refresh and renew us. Practices like mindfulness when we're driving, bringing attention to the world around us instead of ruminating on our thoughts. Practices like a few minutes of mindful breathing or of a gratitude practice, a prayer or meditation practice that invites us to shift our energy and our perspective. Spiritual snacks sprinkled throughout our day can change us. And for the record, I'm also a big fan of hearty spiritual meals as well. Practices, that we commit to on a very regular basis, that maybe are longer than 5-10 minutes. And if you have a spiritual practice like that, maybe, some folks have a daily meditation or yoga practice, for instance, it's a treasure, isn't it? Like an anchor in the storm. But today, I'm all about the snacks, because spiritual snacks are a great place to start adding practices into our lives and experiencing the benefits. Just like our doctor might encourage us to find ways to move our bodies all throughout the day in order to be healthy, so too can these spiritual snacks, right, sprinkled throughout our day, help us to stay spiritually well. These days, I have become a real spiritual snacker. And although I do love my longer practices, I really have come to rely on these nourishing spiritual snacks that refuel and refill my days with more compassion, generosity, and courage. Because if you are like me, life feels particularly stressful these days. Not only are we carrying the stresses we always carry in life, the way that life brings ups and downs, challenges and joys, but we also have a significant kind of existential stress around us as we listen to the daily news and we hear about the impacts of our current political environment on our loved ones, on our neighbors, on our communities, and on ourselves. And spiritual snacks are helping me get through my days with just a little more access to the spiritual values and qualities that I aspire to embody and live out in the world. I am more generous, more compassionate, more courageous when I've peppered my day with brief spiritual practices. And so this is just something I really would love to share a little bit with you as well. And I look forward to hearing and hoping that as you meet with groups, you share about these kinds of things maybe that you already do with one another for encouragement. So to begin a practice of spiritual snacking, it's good to have a little forethought and planning. After all, we are much more likely to eat a yogurt in the break room rather than a bag of Fritos if we've planned ahead, right? And put it in our backpack. So it's good to be intentional about spiritual snacks as well. We choose and prepare them so that we have them available and ready when we need them. And our preparation kind of begins by choosing what it is we want to pack for our day. And, one of the things I love about being a Unitarian Universalist is that we have access and are encouraged to draw from so many different spiritual and religious traditions to find sustenance and nourishment. So whether our spirituality is more influenced by Buddhism or Wiccan practices, by Islamic or liberal Christian practices, to name a few, I'd like to share with you 3 broad categories of practices that can help guide us in choosing our spiritual snacks. These 3 categories are body practices, heart practices, and head or mind practices. And I'm drawing from what I've learned as a student and now teacher of the Enneagram, which, if you're not familiar with the Enneagram, it's a tool for personal and spiritual growth that draws from both ancient philosophy and modern psychology. And it describes 9 different personality types, and it's grouped into these 3 centers of intelligence that I just mentioned: the body center, the heart center, and the head center. And we operate out of all these 3 centers of intelligence, but one of them is dominant in us, and so we will tend to draw upon 1 or 2 more than 1 or 2 of them. And so just like we want our food snacks to be a good ratio of fats and carbohydrates and proteins, it can be helpful to plan spiritual snacks that draw from these 3 centers. Our body center helps us to cultivate grounded presence in the moment. Our heart center helps us to cultivate compassion and regulate our emotions. And our head center helps us to cultivate a non-judging, attentive mind. And so let's start with the body center. One of my Enneagram teachers, Sandra C. Smith, writes in her recent book about spiritual growth, she says this: our body is the starting point for spiritual experience, and it is the container of our transformation. Western religion and philosophy has often divorced our body from spirituality, but we know from Eastern practices and indigenous practices that remind us of the importance of including the body. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, sacred dance, those are all examples. And unlike, I just love this thought, and I hope you kind of this might be one of your takeaways today. Unlike our hearts and our minds, which can be in the past and in the future, our bodies are always in the present moment. And so cultivating self-awareness in the present moment is key to allowing our spiritual values, rather than habitual patterns, to lead and guide us. So a body-centered spiritual snack might be like taking a 3-minute break, 5-minute break for some mindful stretching, mindful walking, paying attention to our bodies, to the sensations, noticing how these movements focus our minds on the present moment, and in turn help to settle our emotions. Or maybe a short mindfulness meditation on our feet. One of my favorite places to bring attention for mindfulness is when I'm seated in my car. Since I'm a hospice chaplain, I'm going from place to place visiting with families and patients, and so I'm in my car a lot, and so my car is my office and my sanctuary. And so to stop for just a moment before I get out of my car and to just take some breaths and mindfully bring presence. And so I'm going to invite us to do that for just a moment. I'm going to invite us throughout this to just have a little moment of a practice together, and I want to just affirm that observation is a perfectly acceptable form of participation. And so whether you'd like to just observe or whether you'd like to join into this practice, I welcome you. So I welcome you to get into as comfortable a position as you can in your chair, and especially if you're able to place your feet on the floor, and take 3 slow, deep breaths, in and out, in and out, in and out. And now place your attention on your feet, noticing any sensations that arise. Are they cool, warm, sweaty, achy, relaxed, tense? What do you feel as your feet are connected to socks or to shoes or the ground? And can you notice and feel the way that gravity is connecting your feet to the earth? And so as you continue to breathe slowly and gently, do you notice shifts or changes in the sensations in your feet? And if you want to add a little heart practice to it, send a little compassion to your feet, a little gratitude for all they do for us. And now take 3 more gentle breaths as we return to the room. How was that for you? What do you notice about how you feel right now? You might not notice anything, and that's perfectly fine, or you might notice that your feet hurt, and that's a good thing to notice. Or maybe this little spiritual snack has created a little shift in you, a sense of being maybe a little more grounded, a little more present. Next, we move on to heart practices that bring attention and intentionality to our feelings, our emotions. Some practices help us become more aware of our emotions, and for some of us that's easy, some of us that's hard, right? So sometimes we need just cultivating awareness, but then other practices help us with regulating our emotions. And when we're dealing with stress in particular, that can be extremely helpful. When any of us is under stress, we all need support, right, to calm our reactivity so that we have access to our values, to the way we want to present and act in the world, more generous, loving, and not acting out of fear or anger or shame. And it turns out that breath practices in particular are wonderful for helping us with regulating our emotions when strong emotions take over us. Mindful breathing practices directly target our nervous system and calm our fight, flight, or freeze responses. And one of the simplest to learn, they teach this in military and in other places where people are, first responders experiencing lots of stress in the moment. One of the easiest to learn is called box breathing. And this is a practice I especially utilize when I'm listening to the news. And in other situations where I become aware that my stress level is spiking. This really helps me tame my emotions. So I invite you to try it with me now, if you would. And it's both a breathing and visual, like either like literally visual, I'll be doing this, making a little box, or just in your mind, imagining kind of movement with a box, the edges of a box. So we're going to breathe in for 4 counts, 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold for 4, 2, 3, 4, and release, exhale, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. One more time, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, and hold, 2, 3, 4. Now just be and notice. Breathing practices help us access the peace, equanimity, and calm that is already within us. It's right there. And we can access it as we slow down, calm our nervous system, and breathe deeply. Another one of my favorite heart-centered spiritual snacks is gratitude, a gratitude practice, where we pause to name and remember some specific things that we're grateful for, right? And this, this can seem like overly simplistic, I know, but it's powerful when we do it with real intention and with cultivating a sense of recognizing there's more going on in this world than just what's wrong, right? There's so much, even in the worst moments, to be grateful for, to be alive, for people who are helping us, right? For knowing that we're not alone. And then so much more, the beauty around us. So I invite us right now to take a moment of gratitude, mindful gratitude, I invite you to kind of put your focus on something here in the room that kind of sparks a little bit of gratitude or joy for you, or close your eyes and think of something that you know you love and you're grateful for, and to just notice it and pause and let it sink in and offer gratitude in whatever way your spiritual practices and beliefs lead you to offer gratitude to a higher power, to the earth, to the universe, to another person, to yourself. Just let a bit of gratitude sink into your bones. And come back to our room here. I like to think of gratitude as cracking open a little space for light to come in. And third and finally, we move to head practices that help us work with our thoughts and our minds more generally, and more generally for our capacity for focus and attention. Attention is quite simply just the ability to see, to notice what is going on around us and within us. But our attention does not get focused, does not take things in equally, I should say, our attention. Our attention tends to focus in certain well-worn ways, well-worn neural pathways, and lead us to kind of be unaware of other things that are going along around us. This is something in particular that the Enneagram works with a lot. And so head-centered practices help us grow our capacity to consciously choose what we pay attention to, so that we are not held captive to a narrow focus that often kind of brings us some suffering, but opens us up to awareness and attention on more options. The classic spiritual practices for attention are mindfulness and meditation practices, where we focus our mind on some object of attention, whether it's within our body or on a mantra or on something outside of us, like we did with gratitude, maybe on a beautiful tree. Anything within us or outside of us can be an object of our attention in this kind of spiritual practice. And since my work, I mentioned, involves a lot of driving around the Richmond area, one of my favorite head center practices is mindful driving. And really, we all should be doing that, right? But I think all of us have to sort of remind myself. And so that's why it's a snack. Maybe I need to grow it into a meal. Turning off my radio or the podcast or whatever, and bringing my attention to the sights and sounds around me. And in particular, I think it's helpful to think of one type of thing to focus on. Like, one of my favorites is to focus on the colors that I see. And so I notice the colors of the other cars. I notice the green of the trees, the white of the clouds, the blue of the sky, and something shifts in me. My drive is very different in that moment. And one of the most surprising things that happens, especially when I'm noticing the other cars, is having this sense that I'm not alone on the road. Gosh, I'm driving down this road with all these other people. And I don't know, there's something about that for me that brings a sense of strange community, but it is my community, right? And so just that shifting to the present moment, oh my gosh, it renews me. And then, of course, I'm back to my ruminating thoughts and my listening to the news, and then doing my breathing practices, right? Because they stress me out. But then coming back again. And really, that's about, when we think about spiritual practices and the word being practice, right? It's about practicing. It's never getting it, being a master at it. I mean, sure, that's great to get there. But for most of us, just coming back, returning and practicing. So, and so, yeah, so spiritual snacks, they are small, intentional practices that can transform the moments of our days into more peaceful, more courageous, more hopeful ones. And as we draw from all three centers, body, heart, head, we deepen our capacity to access and live out our cherished spiritual values and qualities. And more than ever, we need access to our spiritual values. Our world, our loved ones, ourselves needs to be spiritually nourished in order to address the pressing needs of our times. So let's dig into some snacks. Let's experiment. Share the snacks you're trying out with others here at church in your groups that you meet with your family, with your friends. Let's nourish the spirit of love, generosity, equity, justice, pluralism, interdependence, and transformation. Those are our UU shared values. Let's nourish the spirit of our shared values that we and our world so desperately need. May it be so. Thank you. In the week ahead, may grounded presence, compassionate hearts, and attentive minds help us to meet the challenges and savor the pleasures of our lives. May it be so. Blessed be.
And please rise as we sing our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home.
Water